How do we separate ourselves from competition? Well, let me tell you.
Today I will be asking every member within our Kelly Fry team here about their thoughts on the journey to the top 1% and also what that means now going forward. Being the interviewer and documenter on this journey gave me the privilege of witnessing firsthand the qualities that truly contribute to the team's success. Throughout this journey, documenting and celebrating milestones has been paramount, especially the team having recently achieved President's Club, that top 1%. It's quite the accolade. Recognizing these achievements not only motivates the team, but it sets new benchmarks for continued growth. With all that said, I'd like for you to sit back and join us as we explore the lessons learned, the impacts of our roles, and the excitement for the future of the Kelly Fry team and the real estate industry. What began as a vision sort of evolved into a testament of dedication, and we commit ourselves to client-centric values. And that's what really defines the Kelly Fry team. As the team's content creator for the past 10 months, I realized that storytelling has been a cornerstone, captivating audiences and showcasing the wealth of knowledge that this team has to offer.
Last year was a new role for me in general. So in February, I took over as the director of sales. And the challenge on that, obviously, is taking a sales team from what we've been doing before, traditionally letting everyone kind of run amok and do their own thing, to getting into a more systemized approach into their business through accountability, coaching, regular check-ins, and switching up our systems all in general. Like, we did a heavy revamp of all of our systems to be able to incorporate all this coaching and accountability. So that was the challenge for last year, was really trying to maintain our level of sales that we're doing, in fact, grow, while also cutting out all the fat basically and revamping our system to make ourselves more efficient.
I was recruited to launch Keller Williams in Vancouver and become their market center administrator, which is essentially like the transaction coordinator plus agent services plus the bookkeeping for the brokerage. Kelly Fry found me and she called me up one day, asked me to go for coffee. We knew each other from previous Keller Williams conventions and events. COVID hit. She said, come work on my team. So I actually started as an unlicensed assistant for Kelly after years of working on the brokerage side and conveyancing. And immediately she wanted to know why I didn't have my license and said, nope, you're going to get your license. And then also that, developed into working more for the team and starting to do my own real estate sales as well. As our volume has increased and the team has grown, those roles had to be sort of, separated out. So now I'm primarily focused on the transactions for the team. I have everything. I have all the apps on my phone. I have everything to be able to respond basically immediately, because we really have to prioritize tasks and know at any given moment which task takes priority over other tasks, because you're always being thrown a new piece of information or something that you have to deal with, and you have to decide very quickly what takes precedent over something else. I love the details. I love writing contracts. I love the excitement and energy of that. Kelly and Cameron in particular, their love of sales is how I am about getting that sale to the finish line and making sure the contracts are perfect, etc.
Being in the top 1% is really more about the person that you have to become to achieve that goal. And I set it as a goal from the time I started as a new agent, and it took me until today to reach that goal. And so I've worked continually by watching people who are in the top 1% to see what they do, to emulate what they've done. And the most important part of it is not the competitive side, although I am a very competitive person. It's the value that you have to provide to your customers and to society to get that end result that really actually matters.
We all have different personalities here. We have so many agents. Some of us are more structured. They are matter of fact. And then some of us have clients where we are more outgoing and vivacious, shall we say. I am what they call the bulldog, which I will always try to get an answer in any way that I can. So the newer role is a listing coordinator, and that's something that I'm trying to streamline and get better at it each and every day, because our clients are looking for streamline. I want to help take away the pressure and have the other agents be able to, get more appointments, get more leads, things like that. The good thing is that with this team, because we're so strong, we learn scripting, and so we can be able to change our ways with each and every client. But I feel that we all bring our own different skill to the table, each and every one of us.
You sure? Okay, let's have a brownie.
At some point, I was a first-time home buyer, right? And I actually wasn't like my realtor wasn't really interested in spending time and, exploring different options. So I actually purchased a real estate, which wasn't really suited for me, but I couldn't do it because I couldn't rent my apartment and it wasn't a good time to sell. I would lose money on it. So yeah, I kind of tried to think how I would want to be treated and try to treat my clients the same way.
When I started with the team, we were already at Medallion Club, which is already amazing. It's been a privilege working with a team with that high standard, and now we're at the top 1%. And it's even better, but also puts a little bit of pressure, because that means you need to do more. People look at you, or almost everyone looks at you and expects highly of you. You just have to deliver. If you ever have a big campaign coming up, theme is always the key. Next to that is color. And once I figure that out, that's when I start to visualize and create things to make it more compelling, to make it more attractive. The most important thing, aside from theme, is our branding. Incorporating the branding with whatever aesthetic that I need to do keeps everything coherent. Aside from them being happy about the whole design, whole aesthetic, whole vibe of it, is the clients. Their happiness is also our happiness. That's our number one priority.
There's a lot that goes behind what we do, and it's needless to say there are sometimes sleepless nights. We are up early, sleep late, we get things done all day. As a content producer for the team, you have to keep up. There's no taking breaks. We work 7 days a week, and some of us are up 24/7 handling deals. building that clientele and those connections to continue helping our team grow. It could be an overwhelming feeling to think we're in the top 1%. Doesn't mean we just stop there. To keep building upon that standard, not only living up to it each year, but to excel, to ensure that we're leaving our mark in the industry.
I think it's a fallacy to believe that there's work-life balance in our business. Gary Keller, our founder, has always said that we have to actually operate with counterbalance. So there are times where we're working like crazy, and then there's times when we can just be off. And so I think it's an illusion to think that there's going to be an equal balance at any time. If you're a top performer, I mean, if you want to be average, I suppose you could, but unfortunately the demands of our clients and the speed of real estate doesn't really permit that.
Well, as the new director of sales, a big part of that is really focusing on education, trying to motivate people to seek education, but also provide it. One of the things that we've really implemented over the last year and a bit was training through Glover U. And that's been, in my opinion, one of the biggest game changers for us as well. We've taken everything from a listing mastery course to a systems of real estate, just social media. I mean, just our social media presence and growth alone with, videographers like Jordan here behind the camera, and of course, Jury with our marketing team. Really looking at how we can systemize and grow those departments adds a lot more value to our agents. And when we can take more off of our agents' plates, they're able to go and produce more. They're able to meet with more sellers, meet with more buyers, do more showings of homes. And as we continue to really dive into our systems and really optimize everything, it's going to continue to make it easier for agents to join our team, get into the systems, and then start producing at a higher level.
Working together as part of the Kelly Fry team has taught me invaluable lessons, such as authenticity and transparency with your clientele. For myself, it was mostly storytelling and engaging the audience. But with our agents, they've learned that each client's journey is unique. And with that comes unique demands and standards that we have to live up to.
To be competitive, you have to be very innovative with the changes we've faced in the last few years. And I have found that being around top people and selecting who I'm around has really helped me to elevate my game, because by being around them, I get to see how they think, how they act, what their habits are, and that's really been a game changer for me. In real estate, it doesn't cost a lot to take training, but the impact is so great that I seek out any training I can.
Kelly and I, we have always had a goal to hit that top 1%, to be one of the best real estate teams in Greater Vancouver. And now that we've hit the top 1%, I really can say that we're really establishing that. Glover U has got to be one of the most impactful training programs that Kelly and I have ever taken. When Kelly and I first went on a whim to Traverse City, we basically got told like, hey, you should go and check this event out. We didn't know anything about it. I've heard Jeff speak once or twice at events like Keller Williams Family Reunion. Quickly booked the tickets. We'd never been to Traverse City. We've had a hell of a time getting there. And what we realized was we finally found the program that will help us break the glass ceiling that we've been experiencing with hitting around that 175 to 200 units, to finally a program that will help us grow, expand, recruit more agents, and help more buyers and sellers in Greater Vancouver.
I think that the key to it is to really fall in love with your customer, because if you're in love with your customer, you want what's best for them, you feel like they're a family member, you're going to make sure that you're focused on their best interests at all times. And a lot of times with my customers, I don't try to get them to list properties. I know that if they hold long term, that'll be better for their wealth building. So I give them sort of all of the pros and cons of selling or keeping property with the thought that I want to make sure that they make the decision that's best for them. I think what changes for me now, having reached the President's Club, is I have to show up as a different person. And it's so critical because it's not just for myself, but it's for the people around me on the team. And even if I don't feel like being in lead generating or addressing the way I'm supposed to or doing what I need to do, I have to do it for the greater good of my team, but also because we've now set a minimum standard that we want to retain.
And put one of my books in the swag bag as well, so they get a little bit more. Okay, cool, bye. One of the big systems that we started to incorporate last year that came about, more into 2024, but we started layering in the pieces, which definitely helped us, was really revamping our listing and our transaction systems, right? So for example, we revamped our entire listing package to, we had a 20-something page document that we've now brought it down to a single trifold. We really dialed into what kind of marketing we offer for our clients and just even how we approach the presentation when we sit down across the table with a client to make sure we can articulate and really show the value that we provide to clients. And I think that's a major change where we were able to start winning more listings, winning with more buyers in the market because we really focused on building those skills and those systems in place.
I have a few clients who was really excited and happy that we went through the entire set of the documents. I would read all the documents, I would highlight important information, if there's a special levy, if there's a sort of restrictions, stuff like that. And then we'll sit down, usually in person, or we do a Zoom meeting, and I open all the documents and we spend a good couple hours going through the documents and trying to explain what are the implications. That's something I do for my clients, and I always get a feedback that was really helpful for them.
We document and celebrate our milestones and achievements within the Kelly Fry team. We utilize various platforms such as our social media, and we celebrate them in our team meetings as well, as we celebrate and acknowledge the successes of individual team members and showing their individual contributions. This not only boosts their morale, but it influences the team members to grow on their own independently, which in the end strengthens the team overall.
But yeah, I just had a very complicated transaction. So a very close friend, we've been friends for 15 years. She came to me and she said, we want to buy a farmhouse. So basically a house which is sitting on the acreage. We have to do a triple transaction. So we have to sell their house and we have to sell the parents' house. And it has to happen at the same time.
I was assisting Elisa on our team. She had a family. There were 3 purchases and sales happening on a couple of different properties. There were so many addendums and pieces of information in place that it could have fallen apart.
This property already had an offer, which fell apart. I had to list 2 properties right away. So this one property was a house in Maple Ridge and another was an apartment in Port Coquitlam. And those sales had to happen simultaneously.
Because once there's a change in a contract, especially with respect to a subject removal, something along that line that requires a date change, then it's like a domino effect that affects every other purchase and sale. And so we had 3 going on at one time for these clients.
We found a property that it was very particular property. So it was sitting on 5 acres of land and had 3 houses. So
basically what I had to do, because I'm a Gen X all the way, I love pen to paper. And so I had to print off each contract, every single addendum for each contract. And I basically laid them all out like a big timeline analysis and had to match up each one to make sure that each contract stayed valid and in place. When you're dealing with contracts, you're dealing with people's lives. And so you have to be very careful with what you're doing. Accuracy is key.
I think it took us about 3 to 4 weeks. I had a great help from Sid. So we were able to do all the paperwork. There was multiple addendums, extending subjects and so on. I was proud of my clients and our team. So just our ability to put this deal together, because it wasn't straightforward. It was a very unusual deal, but on the end, it's all worked out. So everyone's happy. So my client is actually running a farm right now. I'm actually buying fresh bread and fresh eggs and vegetables from her. So yeah, it's great.
It's needless to say that there are long days. The success does not come without its effort. How we got here is because our team prioritizes building strong relationships, and we work extremely hard on our client satisfaction. The members on our team are skilled professionals, but we're not only that, we strive through the genuine passion of helping others. We're in this industry because we love it. Our passion comes through the work we do for our clients.
I'm probably most proud of a building sale that I did in the last year. It was almost a $7 million listing sale, 61 units in BC and Nelson. And the most important part of the deal was that I have had a mentor for over 20 years, who's a gentleman who taught me how to be a real estate investor. He taught me a different way. I call him my rich dad, just like in the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And this was a building that he bought in around 1979. And he's unfortunately become ill in the last few years, and his wife is sort of taking care of things, liquidating assets. And it was just very meaningful knowing that this was a huge part of his wealth building, that I was taking care of it for him and his family, making sure that he got top dollar and that the property went into good hands.
I mean, another one of the big things that we took away from all the training coaching we've done and we've actually ramped up is doing events for our clients. So last year, we hosted the most amount of events we've ever done. Started in the springtime with our first ever ice cream social, which was an absolute blast. We gave over 960 ice creams away to the general public. And that was one that we did as just a massive community outreach, right? A lot of families out there have been experiencing the financial crunch of the inflation that we've had. So that was our way to do something fun. We had a free event, gave away ice cream, popcorn, had face painters, games. Great way for families to come out and just have a day out without having to worry about the financial cost of it. The previous year, we had done a wine event for our VIPs. Last year, we did a Yale Town beer event, and it was a ton of fun too. We had a lot of great laughs. Clients came out, sponsors. We even gave away Kelly Fry Team beer mugs. It was a great event. And of course, our annual pie delivery always goes well, and then our Christmas party. So one of the things we're really, taking charge on is more outreach with our clients. Our database is one of the number one, and our clients is one of the number one resources for us to continue to grow and continue to maintain this top 1% level. So we're going to continue to come up with fun events just to add more and more value to our valued consumers.
We all have big personalities on the team, and everyone has a unique perspective on things. As a new agent, really, I've only been licensed for a couple of years, despite my many years of being in the industry. Cameron is really great for this because I will have a tendency to be dismissive or downplay my role and my accomplishments on the team because I say, I work as the transaction coordinator, I work as the licensed assistant, I'm not selling full time. And yet I know that my sales and my contribution as a member of the team have also been instrumental to be in the top 1% in the President's Club. So I think that, element of together everyone achieves more, which is a Keller Williams Kellerism, really holds true, that Kelly works very hard, everyone on the team works very hard, and we're able to achieve this success together. And it's pretty exciting. Out of all the realtors in Greater Vancouver, 15,000 of them, to get to that top 1%. It also means that on the daily, I think, how can I do better?
We're obviously committed to excellence on delivering results, but we also plan to continue learning, and this team has become so adaptive, especially in this ever-evolving landscape of real estate. The team is in a fantastic position to continue growing and, without a doubt, deliver exceptional results to our clients.
At the end of the day, we are with one of the largest real estate franchises in the world. Gary Keller really is, in my opinion, one of the top leaders in real estate. And what he does is make sure that all agents are truly informed with what's going on in the market. Through some of his events like Family Reunion and Mega Camp, he really dives deep into the numbers to understand the trends that are going on. And then we as a team, we also look deep into that as well, between following what we can on media, social media, just the general trends, of course, and really interpreting the data, knowing how to read the data that we're given so that we can articulate and bring that back over to our clients so they know when they're making the decision to buy or sell that it's the right move for them at the time.
Definitely one of the greatest things about being on the team is that Kelly's outstanding in a mentoring capacity and wanting to lift everyone up with her to push themselves to be their best version of themselves and guide and coach, financially, real estate wise. And she doesn't think in a scarcity mindset at all that it's competition. It's if I win and I help you win, we all win.
Having the opportunity to speak on the panel in Nashville at Her Best Life was actually one of the highlights of my life, because the group of women that belong to Her Best Life are a bunch of high-performing alpha females who experience many of the same challenges that I do. There's an element of loneliness as you push further and further in with your business, and you're balancing family and health and all of it together. And it's just so great to be in that environment. And so to be able to be on a panel to discuss my area of expertise, which is real estate investing, many women were quite taken aback by my story, and it inspired many of them to take action, because although there are many powerful real estate women in that room, they are very good at sales and building businesses, but they haven't known the element of the real estate investment side. So it was a great experience. And my daughter was there as well to see all of these women in action and be part of the whole movement. I think it would be very difficult to operate as a solo agent. When I started as an agent, I was working till 1 a.m. every night trying to handle. I don't think people realize how much is involved in buying and selling real estate, and all of the people involved in getting that deal to the finish line. And so bringing on Cameron, who's been with me for a decade now, who was my first assistant, was a game changer from adding, strategic vision to the business, and also leverage, which is necessary to carry forward. Because if you're in a sales-oriented business and you do a good job of servicing your clients, it's going to continue to grow. At a certain point, you have to build a team if you want to run a business. Most recently, of course, it's been building out our marketing and media department, because in this day and age, that is so critical for the marketing of real estate. And so to have it in-house is just so excellent. And I think it gives us a huge competitive advantage. So I can't imagine that it would be possible for me to operate without a team. From the standpoint of servicing the client, it's necessary to have backup so that they can reach someone when they need to talk to the team. And also, if we're sick or if we're out of town, we need coverage to keep the service level up. I think one of the things people don't realize is how important a realtor's connections are in getting opportunities for the actual client. At the Medallion Gala, the most important thing is fostering those relationships with other realtors, because those are the people that can make a difference for my individual clientele's lives, because they will open doors for my clients by having good relationships with them. And I've always done my best to have a good reputation with other realtors, to treat them with the utmost respect and be as helpful as possible to them, because together in collaboration, we all achieve so much more. And so to be able to celebrate with them at that venue with the highest producing agents who have one of the highest standards of work ethics was just an amazing opportunity, and always appreciate the opportunity to foster those relationships, and that event makes that possible.
The gala was a ton of fun. When you get to put all the top agents in one big room together, the energy is just electric, because what you have is the people who have just a passion for not just the industry, but for personal development, for growth, all in one kind of massive room, all celebrating. Throw a little booze in there, makes for a great time. When you start talking to all the agents and what led them to their success, all of it comes back to the same themes: a drive and a passion for growth. The agents who show up in that room, they are team leaders themselves. They're teaching at their brokerage. They're helping the next wave of agents come up. And that's something that always is impressive to me when you're talking to everyone.
Well, it's definitely exciting to think about the future of the Kelly Fry team. The opportunities are endless, and there's so much potential out there for more growth.
One of the things about reaching the top 1% that, it's kind of reflecting back, it's not just the journey of what we did last year, right? I mean, obviously, the efforts that we did last year were what hit the numbers that we needed to do. It's the accumulation of what Kelly and I have done with nearly a decade of working together. When I moved to BC, I actually started as Kelly's unlicensed assistant, and we, for lack of a better word, knew nothing. Like, we did everything wrong that you can think of, but we just didn't know. Over 10 years, we have been ironing out how to, I don't want to say the word perfect, but improve our systems as we grow this team. So it's been a 10-year long journey, starting with just Kelly and I working out in sometimes her basement while we're, figuring this business out, to now running a team with a full media team, full operations team. We have diversified our offering in terms of services from not just residential, not just investment, but commercial, business sales, commercial leasing, like anything you can think of, we're diversifying into and creating systems around how to handle that. So this celebration of becoming the top 1% is not just celebrating what we did last year. This is celebrating a decade-long journey on the road to becoming one of the top 1% teams.
Cam and Kelly had done many pre-sales in the building. It was a 50-unit building, completely sold out. And the building was up, the windows were in it, the roof was on it, the plumbing was in it. We're all set to start drywalling. And June 11th, I wake up in the morning, my phone's going bing, 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 bing. And I'm opening it up and there's pictures of this massive fire. And I go to the next picture and everything's on fire. And everybody knowing Maple Ridge is texting me, do you know your building's on fire? And drive out to Maple Ridge, and this is what we come across. And our 5-story building with the roof on it now is just a layer of ashes on the ground and an elevator shaft sticking up. And that's all that's left there. Things don't occur quite the way you think you're going to after something like this happens. Something's never happened to you before. There's a million things running through your mind. Got all your employees. I mean, they're planning to come back to work on Monday, and it's Saturday, and the building's gone. Units are all sold. There's 50 people have put their money down and purchased these units,
including me.
Cam being one of them.
And Kelly, we got a team one as well that we bought as a group.
Yes. So all these things are running through your mind. Fire was so big and so hot, it didn't just burn down our building. It burnt down the house beside it on the east side, burnt down the house on the west side, and then there was an 80-unit condominium behind it that burnt that down too. Just a massive, massive big fire. This happened on June 11th, 5 weeks ago. I was there today. The slab is almost cleaned off. They've cleaned up most of the ash already. They're cleaning up. This building was completely prefab. We have these buildings now pre-built in factories where they build all the wall panels, and then we just bring them in, they're trucked in and they're standing up, and you can actually wreck these buildings now in about 6 weeks. So 5 weeks after this fire, the new building's ordered, the slab will be all cleaned off in the next few weeks, and we will be back under construction again, probably mid to late September. You're talking about insurance.
Yes.
There's a lot to be learned about insurance. You learn a lot very quickly when this happens to you. It's all about the details of insurance, and just make sure you have everything in order. Things like Kelly's talking about, fire doors, because when something like this happens, there's a lot of insurance adjusters come and they check everything, every little single detail to make sure, because they're not there to start writing your checks. They're there to not write checks.
Well, one of the things our team is definitely known for is obviously working with investors. That's one of our bread and butters, but also working heavy in the pre-sale market. We have sold, at this point, I would say hundreds of pre-sale properties. And one of the projects that we had, this is the first time it ever happened to us where the project actually burnt down. And so, from an agent's perspective, it was a bit of a hit to us because suddenly all that income that we thought would be coming with all those units closing gets delayed. And obviously it's not an ideal situation for any developer to have their building burned. But when you actually look at it from the investment standpoint, it actually became a bit of a blessing in disguise for a lot of the investors, myself and our team included, because we even bought units, because we were going through a period of time when that was supposed to close, where interest rates were really starting to peak out. Things were going like really high on the rates, properties were slowing down, cash flow was going to be negative. This allowed for at least the investors who are in that project to kind of be able to sit and wait a little bit longer before they have to decide what they're going to do with their property. It allowed for the market to improve. So we're starting to see some of these units now being resold as assignments. It also is allowing for, hopefully when the building is done, knock on wood, that the interest rates will hopefully come down a little bit. And when those rates come down, that should hopefully, one, make it easier for people to qualify for the mortgage, and two, potentially get to a better cash flow position on these properties. So like I said, while it's a devastating situation, it kind of became that blessing in disguise. But what was really cool last year was the relationship that we have with Dave at McLean Homes. He actually was able to invite us out to the site, and we actually were able to do a video on site showing the progress that they got to make at that point when they started redoing the framing of the first floor. Because with that project, what's really different than most other projects is they're doing it in what's called prefab, meaning that they're actually assembling all the major components of the complex in a warehouse. So every single wall, every roofing structures, and they ship it on site. And then they basically just have to jigsaw puzzle it together. And because they had already done it once, well, it's easier the second time around. All the systems are already set. They're actually going at a much quicker pace this next time around once they were able to get the site cleared, get all the plumbing that was melted out, make sure the foundation was all stable. So it was a really cool experience getting to go on site, see what the damage was, but also how they rectified it and started to rebuild it. So that's something that's neat. Now the project, it's set to close sometime later this year, of course, pending any other sort of potential delays, but it's kind of exciting to drive past the site now, and it's already past where it was when it burnt down. So incredible opportunity to get to go on site, and just, it just kind of makes what happened in 2023 just such a unique year for us.
Loyalty and integrity are very important to me, and doing well financially, especially in an environment of high inflationary times like right now, it enables me to provide well for my family. Of course, many people are quite concerned for their children being able to own real estate in the future because of the cost of housing. Some people say, well, I put my family first, so that's why I don't work as much. And I say, I work so hard because I put my family first to make sure that they're equipped to deal with the future and the world today.
The fact that we reached the top 1% is an absolutely incredible feat. And again, it's something Kelly and I have been working on for nearly a decade now. I'm even more impressed with the fact that we were able to reach this, because last year wasn't without its issues. And even though I took over as the director of sales, I was also kind of held back on the incorporation of a lot of the things I was planning to do for the first half of the year, just due to some family issues. For those who do follow me, obviously know that I lost my mother last year, and that did pull me out of both production as an agent. So I didn't have my record year. While the team reached a big milestone, I didn't have a personal high record year, and it also pulled me out of being able to incorporate that. So the fact that we are still able to all band together, put all these systems in place at the back half of the year, and really end the year strong to attain a top 1% is truly inspiring to me. And that's why I'm super proud to continue to lead this team as the director of sales, as well as be a producing agent. And I get asked all the time, when am I ever going to leave Kelly Fry's team and go off and do my own thing? With what we continue to achieve and the milestones we continue to break, I don't see that ever happening, because we have built this together and we're going to continue to dominate. Now that we're top 1% in Greater Vancouver, well, that just means we've got to start taking on Canada. So watch out, Canada, we're coming.
Sometimes we have to take a step back and ask ourselves, why is it that we do what we do? Why are we excited for real estate? Because I believe that it's more than just transactions or numbers. But what is it really? We're building strong relationships and connections throughout the industry, sure. But we're also creating homes for people. We're helping these people realize and manifest their real estate dreams. Now hitting that top 1% in the industry, we plan on moving forward and not losing that title anytime soon. We should only be growing from here.